Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Sonny here, and we got another big update for Global Lab. We cover this every Friday at twitch.tv/bprimegaming, so make sure you tune in and catch it all, the deep dive live. As always, this patch is the patch we are going to see most likely one-to-one on next maintenance. So this is an early view of the future patch coming out next maintenance. And let's dive into it. First off, there is a bit of bug fixes here on some classes. It's nothing major, some tech stuff and all. Yeah, you can check it out, some add-ons application on Nova. The link down in the description. As always, you want to see the details, but it's just a couple of bug fixes on these classes, so nothing really worth it. The big news today is AREANA of Solare is back. Which is great because they had announced AREANA Solare and also the new hardcore PvP server thingy that it seems it's not really a hardcore PvP server. It's changed a bit in the design, but that thing is also scheduled for this month. So maybe that's coming out next week. Maybe it's late, we don't know yet, but at least AREANA Solare is here. So the new season should start next week, next Thursday, next maintenance. So I'll try and summarize a bit here. There's some really good stuff, right? There's some really good stuff here and some big changes. So it's still 3v3. They are changing some maps. They're removing 3 maps for now. Ruins, Manshan Forest, and the Jade Starlight Forest, and adding 3 new maps to them. We'll take a look at them down below, and then they're keeping the 3 other maps at the moment. The big thing here is they're changing the stats and gearing. We'll cover that a bit, but the gist of it is they are reducing DP. So they're lowering DP on the items. However, they're increasing the HP gain you get when entering from 2k to 10k. So everyone will get 8k HP, but they'll lose DP. But this is a good change because right now stats are giga powerful. So the classes that are able to become super tanky and unkillable and still kill all the squishies, no problem, are classes that have a lot of base stats, be it DR or evasion, like Sock Warrior, Sock Nova, Strikers, etc. For evasion builds, super powerful because of how stats work when scaling. So they have these high passives and self buffs and everything to get into high enough numbers that you can't really bypass it. So by lowering the base stats you have, they can't reach these unbreakable numbers and bottom people out on the DR or evasion, right? So they lower that, and then they buff survivability, like with HP, which is a relative nerf to the stat-heavy classes and a relative buff to the squishier classes. They'll still be tanky, right, because they're getting compensation. We don't know how it will feel, but the idea is on point. There's very few classes right now that just have so much base stats and the way it scales. So let me explain real quick. Like, let's say, for example, you have 0% evasion, you gain 1% evasion, you now reduce your damage by 1%. Just sake of argument, right? But let's say you have a class, you have a lot of evasion already, you have 98% evasion, and you gain 1% more evasion. You reduce the damage you take by 50%. So still that 1% defensive gains, depending on how much you already have, will reduce the damage you take by a different percentage. So by lowering the stats, the classes that have a lot, they just end up taking more damage relative to other classes. So this is a good change for solving a big issue right now with some classes just being monsters. We'll see how it actually plays out and how it feels, but in theory, this is great. So there's also buffs to loot and rewards and things like that, and let's just dive into it. So, first off, this is the Korean window based on Korean servers for matches. We'll see what it is on Thursday for us, most likely, unless we get our earlier update announcement for the new season. But yeah, it seems to be going on for 8 hours on the weekend, on the weekdays, and then for ranking here, right? And then you have 12 hours, it seems. So this is 1 a.m. right in the morning on there. So we'll see how it is on our servers. Nothing should just there. Hopefully it's a bigger window than it used to be. Score system is also changed. The gist of it is they want people to play more. So this season, they are resetting the MMR completely. Hard reset on MMR. Everybody starts at 700 elo, 700 points, and that's it. And you don't have this hidden MMR that you had the previous seasons, where people play 10 games and then they were in top 100 guaranteed end of season. Everybody, they're resetting this hard for this season, so everybody starts at the same place. But they are also, I believe, reducing the points you win slightly, but increasing the amount of points you get on consecutive wins. So currently, 5 wins give you 1 additional points. After 10 wins, you get 2 additional points. They're changing this to after 2 wins, you get 5 points. And after 4 wins, 10 additional points. And after 8 wins, 20 additional points. Now, what is the idea with this? It is to make sure that people that play really well or really good can accelerate their ranking faster. And the people that are, like, let's say, top 100 players, they get into win rates really quick, so they get into the top 100 again way faster with less games needed, meaning that they don't farm as many Manshaums players on the way there. It also means that people starting later in the season will have a better time, if they're good enough, to accelerate and get into the higher rankings, even though they start a bit later. And also people that have less time to play might be able to, if they're good enough, have high win rates to accelerate their progression in the ladder. So all in all, it sounds pretty good. The number seems very high, but let's be real, if you're playing around your elo, you're probably not going to see like giga win streaks, right? You should be around 50 to 60 win rate for the most part. So we'll see how it plays out, but all in all, I like this idea of it, of making people quicker get into the elo where they're supposed to play without having to have a high elo from previous seasons. Next up is to encourage the top ranked players to play more. So the DK is changing from Solare ranking 5 days down to 3 days. Spear of Glory from 7 days to 3 days, and then the Dawn ranking from 2 weeks to 5 days of being like AFK not playing. So you need to play more. If you want to stay in the rankings, you have to play more. This will also then mean, especially at the higher elos when it's harder getting matches, that everyone needs to play more, and it might have an accelerated effect where, you're more likely to get games because you play more and they play more, so now you just play more in general. So hopefully that's going to be great. I think it should be more aggressive play in ranking. I used to play a lot of ranked arena in World of Warcraft, and you would go on to like sometimes like playing 2 games in 3 months because, there's nothing there, just waiting for end of season. So to me, this is great. It encourages people to active play to stay on the rankings. And it ties into some other stuff, which is the rewards that we'll cover like after this. So you probably want to do it anyway if you're a PvP enjoyer. The maps are changing. They're keeping the good maps that people really like. They are removing the 3 maps mentioned earlier, and they're adding 3 new. I'll give my thoughts on them real quick. We have the Holbron here, which honestly looks horrible. They know we like Olens, so they're trying to make a big circle, except there's nowhere to hide. You're gonna get probably stuck on a lot of stuff here in the ground. It's gonna be miserable, and let's say UV, where are you gonna hide? Pretty much you're guaranteed to die if you're against a Musa or Sorkmaver, Awakening Circle. I mean, hell, even a warrior throws a spear. Like, where are you gonna hide? The only place you could potentially line aside is here. But some of the Vs, you just run into the middle and you just get them out of V. And yeah, like I'm not a fan of this. Next up is the Godo Village, which is more of the same. Again, big circle, flat plateau, nowhere to hide after Ving, no line of sighting. Some class are gonna hate these maps and some class are gonna love these maps. They're too similar in my opinion, and they need some sort of terrain. But luckily the third map at least has a lot of potential. The wilderness over here, it has like some terrain here. You can line aside, you can play around it. There's some rocks, you can come out, you can move the fight somewhere naturally and you go elsewhere. Definitely opens up a lot more. This one here, I think is going to be a decent map. But the other twos, yeah, like I'm not a fan of those. But they might be fine once you start playing them. I just doubt it. V insta death, basically. This one here definitely is decent. So those are the new maps, and then we keep Olens, Gyfin Temple, and the Reed Field. Now let's get to the rewards, and this is the big thing. People have been asking for more rewards, make it at least some silver to play, and they actually did it. So it's nothing insane. It's not going to compete with grinding. It never should, but you're going to be making actual decent silver. So once you are over 800 points, and this is important, you need to be over 801 points to obtain these new rewards. If you're 800 below, you get the old rewards still, which is also the practice rewards. They stay the same. This is for ranked only. But at 800 and above, you start getting 100 million silver and 50 tokens on a win. And on a loss, it's 60 million silver and 30 tokens. So that translates to, assuming courage, not even factoring in the weekly and all that, but like just converting to courage to sell or to keep, 200 million silver and 120 million silver. So if you are able to do, say, 5 games an hour, you're looking at between 600 million silver and 1 billion silver an hour doing Arena of Solare ranked with this. And we did the numbers for CJ, the rank 1 Sage on EU, Awakening Sage Guard. And from last season, if this was in effect, he would have made 120 billion silver more than he did. So for people that are enjoying PvP, it's not going to replace grinding. It never meant to, right? But for people that enjoy PvP and like doing this, this is actually good. This is way more than people have been asking for. I remember people asking for like maybe 400-500 mil an hour in RBF and all that, and they would do it all day. Now you're potentially looking at 600 to 1 billion silver an hour, plus end of season rewards, plus the weekly values and things like that, which are also slightly buffed. So pretty good. And the 801 points is important because, as people obviously figured out right away, but what if you just go in and just keep losing and you make 600 mil an hour, just ending all that? Yeah, but it's only after 801, so if you just end your matches to finish faster and maybe do a bit more on just losing, you're gonna tank down and you're not gonna be able to get these rewards. So it's also going to encourage, hopefully not stalling as much. We'll see about that, right? But potentially it could encourage not stalling as much, and it will hopefully encourage trying to win and play and get higher ranks and get the win rewards as well. So all in all, pretty nice change for the people that are doing this and want to do this. That's good. They're also buffing the amount of weekly quests you can do with the loot scrolls. You can complete it 3 times now, so that should be 9 loot scrolls a week. And you can also get the 3 times on the sturdy forest threats instead of just once. They're also making gear changes, and this ties into the change with the HP to hopefully balance it a bit better and making sure that these classes with a lot of base stats don't just run rampant and basically are unkillable while still being able to 1-combo and 2-shot everyone that's a squishy, right? So they're making those changes. They're also reducing the influence of the buffs. So the water buff and the fire buff, wind buff has been reduced, and adjustments to crystals are also in progress. So we'll see a bit more changes with the crystals. Now let's take a look. HP increased 8k for everyone. The heal is going to go from 3k to 5k, the green buffs. But remember, you have more maxed HP, so it's going to be potentially a smaller percentage depending on class and all. The water buff is going to add 30 DP or 30 DR, and the fire buff is going to be 30 AP, and then the wind song is reduced by 60%. They're also changing the gearing a bit. It's going to be a bit more straightforward. So you're going to have blue versions and you're going to have purple versions. It's just DR and evasion. That's about it, right? It's DR, evasion, and then the earrings are also the ones you can switch. The stats here, again, everybody's going to have the same. They're only going to depending if you're going DR or evasion. and then the earrings. So those are the only swaps. You can see all the gear here. Gear invasion versions, and then the earrings, which is the only choice you really have in this, is either tongue grids 15 AP with 10% max BSR versus 12 AP with BSR region. And then, of course, the alchemy stones. The crystals, there's a few changes here, but I believe more changes are coming from what they wrote. They are increasing the LCAR crystals to be the upgraded versions, it seems. So that should be the 20 accuracy instead of the 12 ones. The 8 ones. They are removing the red battlefield force crystals. I think this is the power crystal. Remember, this is Google translated. So this looks to be the power crystal being removed. They're removing the red spirit crystal in offhand. They're removing the harpy crystals. And the pilgrim crystal province has been added, which is max HP and stamina. And then on the armor, they're removing the bitterness crystals. So again, this here ties into removing some raw stats. The more raw stats you have, the more you scale with these things. So they're removing some raw DP stats as well, raw DR and evasion stats, to make sure you don't giga scale with this, and then also removing some of the raw AP with the offhand, and apparently I think this is the power as well, was the raw AP one, to make sure you don't go crazy numbers on that as well, to kind of curb the extremes, is my guess. Another thing they're doing is the end of season rewards, and this is something I think is awesome. We won't know the rewards yet until it comes out on live, but here's what they're doing. At the end of the regular season, depending on which ranking you have, you are going to get a bonus reward. The rewards for each last ranking will be announced through the official updates notice. So depending on where you are, you'll get a chest, most likely, with some rewards in it, to also encourage people maybe pushing from green to blue, or maybe pushing from yellow to red. So even like jumping just in that is going to give you some end of season rewards, on top of hopefully being fun and getting some silver while doing it. And it scales all the way up to the Solare Incarnate, I guess, 2400. And you still have the top 100 rewards on top of that. So that didn't change, completely the same. The top 100 gets the same box here, that needs to be buffed. The only difference is it's how many human you get instead of these giants and stuff like that. So it's tiny buffed, it needs to be buffed way more. However, if you're in top 100, you are also going to receive the end of season reward depending on your rank. So if you're top 100, you're probably going to be up in Diamond or in Solare. And then you'll also get that reward box and the end of it. So we don't know what these are yet, but hopefully they're really juiced and they scale to encourage people trying to climb, on top of then getting that increased silver every game. Next up is a huge quality of life. This is the other big thing. This is so good. This is so good. One of the best quality of life updates in a long time. Workers is getting updated, and workers are increasingly important with the life skill updates of getting materials for different things. They're super valuable. There's a lot of value. I am going to be redoing my entire worker empire, maximizing it on stream next week. So tune in if you guys want to get some tips and tricks on stats. We're going to spreadsheets and everything. There's a lot of value to be had here, and now it's going to be easier and better than ever to do it. So what are they doing? Workers gather resources and nodes to be crafting, blah, 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 blah. They are changing the delivery skill. So currently at level 40, workers learn this delivery skill, which allows you to select which town to put the produce in. So let's look at an example here. Let's say I go out in Valencia and I have a worker on pistachios. So I'll send a worker from Valencia to gather pistachios. But I do my cooking in Caltheon. I can now choose when I put my worker on this node. It's going to show it here. There we go. So I can now take my worker and I can select where to drop off the stuff. So let's say it's a cooking node, right? I want to sell to Caltheon. That's where I do my cooking. Now this worker is going to not change the time. Nothing changes right in the time. Same time, everything, no matter where I'm doing it. So he still goes out from the same time, but instead of dropping it off in Valencia for this worker, it drops off where I need it. So pretty awesome. and a great way of moving stuff around all in one go. That currently requires level 40. However, with this update, they learn it at level 1. So it's a perfect time to start redoing the workers and empires. Because like once you level up a worker to level 40, it's gathering a lot of materials and they're already in that city. Now you have to remember to undo it, change him, and then you just still move all those materials to another place. And so it's just, a lot of time you just forget about it and just leave them there. Now, whenever you put a worker on it, you can at level 1 choose where to send it. So when building or rebuilding, you can instantly set it up as you want it. So that's one thing they do. Awesome. Another thing they do is they're gonna allow us to hire workers from other villagers and to register them. So if I am needing a worker in Valencia, I can just have my alts in Villa. I can go to the worker dude in Villa. I can talk to him, and as you can see here, I can select what city, what town I want to roll the worker in. No longer do I have to transport workers around. You can do it from anywhere in the world at one of these worker hiring places and hire them for other cities as well. So huge quality of life there, gonna save a lot of time, a lot of annoyance, easier to roll workers. But wait, there's more. On top of that, they are going to allow us finally to do multiple worker promotions. So this is perfect for people leveling up multiple characters, redoing stuff, or getting into it. When you're leveling up your workers now, you can promote multiple at a time instead of having to only do one at a time. You can get them all. You said like 10 workers out on nodes. Level 1, they all get level 20, right? You improve them all at one go, one click. It's gonna be great. I'm super excited for this. Huge quality of life, time saver, and convenience increase. So that's the big update for the worker. And I'll be diving into that next week on stream, so don't forget to tune in. And some grind changes for Honglim base, one of the most popular spots in the game. It's insanely good, and it's low requirements, all around great. However, it seems some people have been standing AFK grinding in place, just throwing down the same ability, AoE and killing mobs. So they are nerfing that, but I think buffing Honglim. In this update, you will encounter sharpshooters. Fox bandits at Honglim base encourage a bit more movement than usual. If you subjugate, normally grind, as in not stand in place, you shouldn't notice much of convenience, and we are deciding to have minimal impact on your gameplay. Now, what's gonna happen? When the leader of the Fox bandits appears at Honglim base, a sharpshooter Fox bandit is also added to appear. So this is an additional mob that spawns. Keep that in mind. All right, it doesn't move, so it stays at a distance and nuke. Since they are more powerful than regular monsters, you can obtain higher rewards when you defeat them. So, you're not gonna stand in place, right? You need to move a bit and kill him, but it adds more mobs to kill, and they apparently have better drop rates than the regular mobs. So this should be a buff to Honglim base, but it requires you to not stand still and literally AFK farm. It requires you to play the game. So technically this is a Honglim buff for people that are grinding out there. And also solves a bit of a problem with people, AFK grinding. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I even forgot about this. Okay, another W coming in clutch from PA. Huge update, quality of life. Inventory quest. There's a bunch of quests that you can do to get inventory slots on characters. They are now going to be a knowledge thing. So if you've already done those quests on one character, you can now instantly complete them on all your characters, on new alls and everything. So you don't have to keep running through the quests of having to find all of these inventory to get that 10 extra inventory slots. You just get it now, talk to Black Spirit, and boom, you have it. Awesome change. Gonna be a lot easier for alts and getting inventory on all the characters from the quest without having to do it. I never do this on alts. All right, so this is great. Nice little boost of potentially 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slots, 10 inventory slots on alts where you can be lazy. Nice change, PA. And speaking of quests, a lot of good quality of life in this one, guys. search function on quests are being added. So now you can search in your quest. You can search for quest names, but you can also search for rewards. So if like you're looking for some reward, they're using the example of the crystal inventory plus 5 expansions. You can search for it. You search, it pops up, it shows you where the quests are, loads everything. You can search for, let's say, like life skilling is big, right? A lot of people getting into life skilling now. You might have heard about the fish tank. Some of you guys watching right now probably don't know what it is. The fish tank is an item, it's a quest that gives you a fish tank that has 50 slots in it, so you can have 50 more fish in your inventory. You can also buy a pay-to-win upgrade to double that, but even 50 is enough for pretty much everyone. Completely free, easy quest to do. You might hear about that, be like, wait, okay, how to do that? You just go in, you search fish tank or tank, and boom, it'll pop up, and there you can find it. So you can search these items for different quests, or maybe you are into, I don't know, hunting. You want to see if there's some cool hunting quests. You can type hunting in and see what quests there are. Maybe there's some cool rewards or EXP buffs or whatever that you want for life skilling or whatnot. So huge, awesome, yeah, super great quality of life stuff coming in this patch, along with some AoS. Another small one here is you can now see the fish price guide update. So this is the fish tank I'm talked about. You can do it from quests. You can buy this one from the Pro Shop and then combine them into a 100 storage one. And you can now see the total price of fish in the tank and outside of the tank. So you can see here, whenever you've been fishing, you can get an estimate of the amount of silver. This is also going to be pretty good, especially here in the stream. We talk a lot about like this, and we talk a lot about it, and comparing numbers and everything. But there's more factor when you're selling your fish, like your distance, your trading, the freshness of the fish, and also the NPC roles, which changes, might change channels. So this here you can compare 1-to-1. It's okay, like it's not a big deal, but it's pretty nice. You can have an idea every night to see, oh, I got this much, things like that. And it's also been pretty good for comparing. If you got some homies out there doing other fishing, you can like, oh, how much did you get? And then you can go from that, because there's going to be a base fixed number. So that's about it for there's some some bug fixes here. Yeah, this is like pretty much nothing, some knowledge obtained, typos, things like that. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. I'll see you all